A Hollywood insider told Xinhua that Transformers 4 will not only be set in China, but will actually center on the Asian country. Paramount Pictures, China Movie Channel, and Netflix Enterprises announced in April that they had entered into a cooperation agreement regarding the production of Transformers 4 in China. Since then, a talent casting competition has been launched to select Chinese actors and actresses to appear in the movie. In today's interview, Mark Gannis, president of Netflix Enterprises, who has already read the script of the next installment of the Transformers, shares his inside knowledge. And the Chinese version of the Iron Man 3 has drawn a lot of criticism. And do you think it's efficient, it's necessary to just put Chinese faces in those Hollywood movies in order to pry open the Chinese market?
It's one component to have Chinese talent in front of the camera, but you also need Chinese storylines, and you need to be able to portray the Chinese people in the right way, and you need to portray the country and the culture in the right way if you want to really tap into the Chinese market. Iron Man 3 has gotten some criticism here in China for having a few Chinese actors in it and having a Chinese cut of the movie, some extra minutes that were not viewed, that were not in the global version. Would it have done better if they went in a different approach? Maybe. Might have done less well. We can only speculate. Transformers 4 is not taking that approach. There's going to be a single version that will be seen worldwide that will have a very significant Chinese component to it.
So will the Chinese actors and actresses be really involved in the storytelling of the Transformers 4?
What you will see, and what the people here will see, what the world market will see, is a film that is very close to China and the Chinese people, that has a great deal to do with China, where effectively China is a character in the movie.
And why is Li Bingbing invited to play in the film?
Michael decided that she was a very talented actress that could play a significant role in the movie. Because so much of the movie takes place in China, her role, the character that she plays, is a Chinese national. And it makes perfect sense that it would be a Chinese actor or actress to play that role. So it's a very natural position for her to have. For years, Hollywood has always looked upon the Chinese market as a place to make money. And so do you think that's a sustainable way of cooperation? No, I don't. It's been an unfortunate way to view China in Hollywood, that they really, in many ways, just look at China as a cash machine, an ATM, to do business in and try and bring money back to Hollywood. It worked for a while, but it doesn't work anywhere near as well as it did. But there's an expectation that if you want to truly tap into the exploding box office market here in China, that there are other expectations of the filmmakers and of the studios. There are expectations that you'll tell stories that are more culturally connected to the Chinese people and the Chinese culture, that you will do business in the way that the Chinese government and the Chinese culture are more accepting of.
And how do you think we should tell Chinese stories to the world?
Well, interesting. The Chinese culture, going back thousands of years, has been one of the great storytelling cultures the world has ever known. What has happened over the last 100 years or so is that the way stories are told by different cultures has evolved. Technology has changed. The use of video has changed the way stories are told. And some parts of the world have used technology and used video and sound in ways that tell stories in a more technologically advanced way. And that is education. And that's another part of the China Movie Channel, Netflix venture that we've got, to bring education, film education, in things like not just directing and acting, but in sound and video and editing and budgeting and publicity and things of that nature, so that the great storytellers have got better assistance to tell their stories to the worldwide audience in a way that they're used to having stories told.
And when you choose to cooperate with a movie channel, are you laying cornerstone for the launch, the similar online service like Netflix?
Yes, we started this venture with Movie Channel, CCTV6, with 4 primary goals in mind. One was to help advance the Chinese movie industry. A second is to help export Chinese movies using new technology, new media, primarily the internet to start with. A third is to develop a distribution platform in China for both Western movies and Chinese movies together, for the Chinese people to be able to choose from in their homes, to be able to watch on their beautiful 60-inch high-definition televisions, watch as a family, watch with their friends, rather than having to sit in an internet cafe on an old computer, watching in standard definition with commercials all the time.
And how do you plan to combat the online piracy?
Online piracy in China is a challenge for everyone. Our approach is multi-phased. First, we think there are quite a few people who want the status of paying for something legally and getting it legally and legitimately. That's one. Number 2, the studios that we are contracted with and the ones we have been talking to want to help combat the piracy. There's always piracy everywhere in the world you go. There are people who don't want to pay for anything, especially intellectual property. That's part of life in the digital age. But we can reduce it, and we can provide the option for people to be able to get the entertainment they want for a modest or low cost in a legitimate legal manner.
And how do you think China and the U.S. can further deepen their cultural exchange?
One of the great things that film does is it provides a window to the world of other cultures, almost better than anything else. And it's been doing it for more than 100 years. It's one of the greatest characteristics that film provides to the world. It brings it closer and brings it closer together. Not just the good parts, the not so good parts also. It's okay. It's okay. We're mature societies. We can learn about each other. Everything doesn't have to just be smiles and sweetness. There are good things and there are not so good things, and we can learn from each other by doing that. It's one of the great parts, one of the great things that film can do. It can bring cultures closer together.